Welcome back to another episode of the AJ Sports Podcast. I am one half, Anthony Carboni. To my left is the other half, Justin Velche. And we were repping Canada today. Canada's team made it to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2021, where the Montreal Canadiens did it, and they lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5. Hopefully, the Edmonton Oilers can put up a better fight. But how do we get here? Well, we're going to discuss that. But first, Justin, how we feeling, man? How we feeling?
Oh, dude, I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. I'm excited for the Stanley Cup Final. You know, everything good. Height.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers got eliminated, but that was really heartbreaking for me because I had so high hopes for these guys, and we're going to talk about them because they were shit. They were just shit, and there's no excuses behind it. I mean, they were just shit, but we'll get into it. We'll start off the pod with the Eastern Conference as it happened first. So last we left off. We said I think it was 2-2 between the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers. We discussed the
Mhm.
Panthers tying things up in game four in overtime with the power play merchants, as I said on the last podcast. But at MSG Thursday night, we expect the Rangers to come out, hot. And it was a very close first period. It was 0-0. And on the Florida Panthers power play, not only do the Rangers score, but Chris Kreider, who has been relatively quiet in this series, gets the shorty and makes it 1-0 in the second period for the New York Rangers. And then a bit later, I think it was Forsling. Was it Forsling that got the first one?
Uh,
Or he
I think so. I think it was
Yeah.
forced.
Yeah, a guy who is not talked about enough when it comes to major defensemen. Gustav Forsling has been a really good force to these Florida Panthers for the past couple seasons, and he showed it there, tying the game up at one. And I think he might have buried the second one too. I could be wrong.
Lundell. Lundell buried it, and then Sam Bennett with the empty netter.
Yeah, so Forsling tied it up. Anton Lundell gets the tie-breaking goal, and the Rangers from there just they couldn't score. And then Bennett gets the empty netter. They did score late, but it wasn't enough. And the Florida Panthers end up having the opportunity to close it out in Florida, Game 6, the Saturday night. And then we get to Saturday night, and the New York Rangers, knowing that their season was on the line, they came out looking like shit. It was it was pathetic. I mean, they have the talent to do it, but the ghosts of Panarin and Zibanejad, these guys were non-existent in this series, and it was really disappointing. And yeah, another turnover from the Rangers blue line, which we've seen consistently in the series, led to Ivan Rodriguez picking that puck up and then just laying it off to Sam Bennett, where he absolutely just drops the bomb and just claps one right below the hash marks, bar down, post in, whatever you want to call it, and they go up 1-0. And from there, it was all Florida Panthers until the third period, where Tarasenko buries a cross crease goal. Panarin gets one late with a minute left, but it wasn't enough. And the Florida Panthers are going back for the second year in a row to the Stanley Cup Final. What are your thoughts? Well, before we get into the Rangers, how did you think Florida looked in this series? Because I thought they should have won way quicker because of how the games went.
Yeah, I thought, dude, they completely outplayed the New York Rangers in pretty much every game. Like, again, the Rangers got timely goals. That's how it got to six, really. But I mean, dude, the Rangers, like, oh man, the Rangers were just really disappointing. Like, there's no way you go on this massive win streak in the playoffs and then you just drop a stinker in the conference final like this. Like, that was embarrassing. Zibanejad nowhere to be found. As you said, Panera nowhere to be found. Kreider also a slow series. But it was just like how tough the Florida Panthers are. Like, dude, the Panthers didn't look phased by going to MSG. They didn't look phased at all by anyone. Like, Orosky was there shutting the door. He went toe for toe with Igor, both tremendous goalies. They were there.
Fantastic. You know what? I got to give my flowers to Igor, man. Like, I feel so bad for this guy because he played his ass off
I know.
every single night. He gave the opportunity for the Rangers to win. And
And
it
it was
just
just
sucks because just couldn't, handle Florida's pressure.
and it was just the depth. I like the Florida Panthers depth was just there all series. Like Sam Bennett was scoring timely goals. Gustav Forsling, Evan Rodriguez gone to the mix. Tarasenko was scoring a couple goals as well. So it was just a matter of starter players not showing up, which the Rangers didn't have. And dude, like the depth, like dude, the Florida Panthers depth was unbelievable all series, and that's what they needed. Like going into MSG, if the power play isn't there, right, you can still score goals 5-on-5, and they had the depth to do that. And you got to give props to the Florida Panthers, like beating Tampa Bay, beating Boston, now beating the New York Rangers. Like that's no easy task. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's a tougher task than what the Oilers did to get to the finals. So I got to give all the props to Florida Panthers. We're not phased by Madison Square Garden. That crowd, that New York team, who were just on a roll. And you know what, dude? Rangers maybe might have some questions to ask about Zibanejad and company because that's not a good look. That's not a good look at all.
Yeah, I've been doubting the Florida Panthers all year. Like I did not have them making playoffs, I think, because they were gonna come into the season with a bunch of guys injured, especially Ekblad and Montour, who were like the centerpieces of that defense. And they come in, they make the playoffs. Not only do they make the playoffs, but they win the Atlantic Division again. And I doubted them against the Tampa Bay Lightning because they were a well-rested team. They have Vasi, right? X factor right there. They beat them in five. I had the Bruins beating them in 7 games. They go to Boston, win all 3 games that they've played in Boston, right? Game 6, they closed it out, Forsling, like I discussed. And we both doubted them against the Rangers. We had the Rangers in 7, and the Florida Panthers, took
Yeah,
our comments to heart, and they beat the Rangers too. So been doubting these guys a lot, and you know what? I should have no reason. I should have like no reason to. Like these guys are incredible. Like you said, the depth is crazy. They've got Kachuk, they've got Barkov, they've got Bennett, they've got Reinhardt, they've got guys, they've got gamers. Evan Rodriguez, man, like I can't like he's such a
and,
great player, like so underrated. He did well with the Avs, he did well with the Penguins, and he's done well with the Panthers in the playoffs. Tarasenko, Kyle Okposo on that fourth line has also been really nice to see.
he was a
For that
captain.
Florida,
He was
exactly.
in that
And the
Sabres.
captain and now he comes to Florida,
Yeah.
and he's in for his first ever Stanley Cup final. So it's good to see from Florida. But as for the Rangers, yeah, like you said, major discussions need to be had. I mean, Truba was terrible.
Awful.
Now, it,
Absolutely
it
awful.
did it did come out that he played with a broken ankle in the playoffs. Okay, but you don't have to say that now. Whatever. I don't care. He was still bad. He was still bad. Panarin, in this series, it was like I said before, when it gets to physical and the players who can like, make their dangles and they can do whatever, they look fancy like Panarin, like Marner, like certain players do that. They don't have that physicality to their game. And when the games do get physical, they disappear. And I think that's what happened with Mika Zibanejad and Artemi Panarin. These guys were not, with Florida's physicality. I mean, Vinny
Yeah.
Trocheck, who that physical game, who can play aggressive and also produce points, he had a great series. Guys like Lafreniere growing, he had a really good series too. He scored a lot of good goals. The one I say on defense, Adam Fox was the only good defenseman for this Rangers team, in my opinion, in the series. He played his ass off in Game 6, and you could see the frustration leaving the bench when the Florida Panthers got close to scoring an empty netter. He was like, "Come on, guys, let's go!" And he was playing with a shoulder injury, so I got to give props to Adam Fox, Lafreniere, and Vinny Trocheck. The rest of the Rangers roster, I mean, it wasn't good enough. And yeah, like you said, major discussions need to be had. Now, I want to see what they'll do. I mean, they made it to the conference final with Laviolette in his first season, so I mean that's good on him. But I think they really need to figure out who can play with Zibanejad on the top plot online on the right side. They don't
Yeah.
have a right wing who can play right wing all the time. They need to address that in the offseason.
I'm also very interested as to what Capo Caco will get them. Because remember, like, dude, they were high on Capo Caco. They've been trying, and it is not happening. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Capo Caco, but I'm, as you said, a right winger. What good right wingers are on the market? Like, yes, Sam Reinhart's a great right winger, but is he going to stay? Like, I would assume he
Tyler,
stays in.
Tyler Toffoli.
Toffoli would be good. But and they'll be right back at the Stanley Cup Finals. But I don't know, man. Like it's a tough choice that they have to ask themselves come this offseason. So it'll be
Yeah, like you said, I don't know what they need to do with Kako. Like that guy is not good. He's not good. And yeah,
yeah.
Roslovic wasn't enough either. I mean, they
Yeah.
bring in Roslovic.
Yeah.
He wasn't what they expected to bring, and
Even Wenberg wasn't much either.
he couldn't like those are the guys that couldn't play like with Kreider and Zibanejad. So like I said, we'll see what the Rangers do in the offseason. I mean, I think Drury needs to address the right side specifically, and they need to talk to their star players and be like, "Hey guys, like we can't disappear in the biggest games of our lives right here." Because this Rangers team, I think, looked better than the Rangers team we saw in the conference final last year. They were a better team this year. So, it'll be tough, but the Rangers, they'll have to address some things. And once they do, we'll see how they turn out next year. But until then, we got the Florida Panthers winning the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, so with like I said, we'll see what happens. And the Florida Panthers are now heading back to their second Stanley Cup final. Moving on to the West, where Oil Nation, we are a part of Oil Nation for the remainder of the playoffs. I don't know if some people are, like Justin over here. I mean, he hates on the Oilers. He does not like McDavid because he likes McKinnon more, but he's wearing an Oilers jersey and he's wearing McDavid's name and number on the jersey.
Yeah.
So, how do we get here? Well, we left off with the Edmonton Oilers tying things up in Dallas, or sorry, at home after they were down 2-0 early in game 4. They come back and tie the game up at 2, right? Then the Edmonton Oilers in the second period score a shorty from Matthias Janmark, and then I think 30 seconds later, Leon Draisaitl buries one 4-2, empty netter 5-2. Edmonton ties the series up, go to Dallas game 5, and it was all Edmonton. All Edmonton. They come in and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, longtime Oiler, who's been through all these guys, been through all these teams, comes in and has the game of his life, scoring 2 power play goals, leading that team to a 3-1 win over the Dallas Stars, going to Edmonton for the chance to close it out. And in game 6, Chris Tanev takes a tripping penalty on Zach Hyman early. And who else but Connor McJesus scoring an absolute beautiful goal, toe dragging it right around a Norris candidate, Miro Heiskanen, and future Norris winner, I assume, and just makes it look like he's nobody. Drags it right around him, throws the backhand on net, and it just goes top shelf. And he made that celly look so nice. He's just like floating in the corner. He's there, happy for his squad. It was a beautiful goal. And then another penalty ensues later where the Oilers, with McDavid sending it over to Hyman, and Hyman scores. And that's pretty much what the Edmonton Oilers did throughout that game. Other than that, the Dallas Stars, man, they played like it was the last game of the year. They knew the stakes were high in Edmonton. And Edmonton, this is a record. I think this is the lowest goal shots on goal for a team in a clinching game. They had 10 shots all game. 10 shots. 10 shots on Jake Ottinger. It was all Dallas. And in the end, the Stars get 1 goal with 10 minutes to go, but it's not enough. And the Edmonton Oilers, for the first time since 2006, are heading to the Stanley Cup Final. A Canadian team is finally competing for the Cup once again. What are your thoughts on the Oilers?
I mean, I gotta give them props. Like they beat the Stars, who will look like the best team heading into the series. And you know what? I gotta give props to everyone. Stuart Skinner has been unbelievable. Like no, I shouldn't say unbelievable, but in the games that they win, he's been pretty much unbelievable. That's how I should rephrase it as. Dude, the Oilers as a team have just been there. They've been defending well. Game 6 was a very interesting tactic. Like they scored two early goals and then they just did nothing else. Yes, they got the win, but I mean, my goodness, like if one puck went the other way, like dude, that the Stars could have taken that one, and who knows what could have happened. But I think the Oilers did a great job this series in just keeping everything composed. Like they didn't like Wyatt Johnson. Yeah, he scored a goal or two, but he didn't really look all there. Stankoven wasn't really that much of a threat in games 4, 5, 6. After Jason Robertson's hat trick, he was non-existent. Rupe Hintz, the Edmonton Oilers kept a lot of their big stars like out of like the front of the net, and and they did a great job of that. Like there was no like playoff style goals, if you know what I mean, from the Dallas Stars, and the Stars love those playoff style goals. So I think the Edmonton Oilers did a phenomenal job with that. Obviously they ran riot with their power play. The power play was just unbelievable. It'll be fascinating come finals because two teams who are unbelievable in the power play. This will be a very fascinating power play for both teams. Come this series. And yeah, dude, I just thought the Edmonton Oilers, like playing up against the Stars team who beat the Golden Knights, who beat the Avs, and now maybe the Oilers would be an easier matchup. I thought the Edmonton Oilers were not really phased. Like conceding, how many goals did they concede when they blew that 2-0 lead? What did they lose by? 5-2? 4-2?
Yeah, 5-2.
After that game, dude, they looked like a completely different team. And it was just unbelievable. Like you would think them losing game 3 in that fashion would have turned the tide for the Stars. And the Stars would make this, maybe over in 4-5. No, in 5-6. But man, the Oilers came back after that game 3 and just stole the show. And it was unbelievable. I gotta give credit to all of them. Cody Ceci as well. I can't believe I'm saying that. Zach Hyman, I gotta give credit to him. And if they win, dude, it's gonna be wow. I can't believe it.
Well, bro, mute your shit. Oh my
Like,
lord.
I know.
This guy's too popular over here. Yeah, man. I want to give credit to Edmonton. I knew they were going to win this series. I knew they were going to go to the Stanley Cup Final. That was my bracket, of course. Except I thought they'd play the Avs, but the Avs didn't want to do well. So the Dallas Stars take that position, and I don't know, Joe Pavelski. I mean, he's probably going to retire. He said it himself. He's like, I don't know for sure, but this is probably my last year. And these playoffs, man, he was non-existent. Pavelski was not an X factor as we normally used to see in these playoffs, and I think his road is over. The Dallas Stars, however, I mean, yeah, like in games 4, 5, and 6, where were the Stars? Like, where were Robertson? Where was Hintz? Where was Wyatt Johnston? Where was Sagan? Where were Ben? They weren't playing Dallas Stars hockey. And like we said, got to give props to Edmonton. They were not phased. They have a good team too. McDavid said it. Before game 1, they knew it was going to be a tough task. They have depth, but we have depth too, and it's true. Janmark, Ryan, Connor Brown, Corey Perry, guys like that, Ryan McLeod, guys like that, they're not talked about enough, and they really outshined the Stars' depth in games 4, 5, and 6. And that's what eventually led to the Edmonton Oilers winning because their depth was scoring. They've had their star players going, and they've had a goalie who was doing his job and making incredible saves. And that is why the Edmonton Oilers beat the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars lost their game. The Edmonton Oilers found their game. And like it's crazy. We haven't seen Edmonton win a lot of 2-1 games, like 1-0 games. We've seen it a few times in these playoffs. The LA Kings game 4 was a great example. They won 1-0. This one was another example of how Edmonton can finally play a different style of hockey where they can just only rely on 2 goals and not taking as much shots and playing defensively. You got to give credit to Paul Coffey on the back end, creating and developing these guys like Evan Bouchard. I mean, he's going to be a Norris winner in the future.
He got robbed of a Norris candidate this year. He got robbed.
Yeah,
he got robbed big time. And again, what I mean, dude, Oilers, dude, Bouchard. Let's not let the Norris candidate valid voting. What's it called? Nomination. Dude, don't let the nominations fool you, bro. Dude, Bouchard is a Norris candidate defenseman. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Just because people might say, oh, he's a power play merchant and he plays with McDavid and Draisaitl on the power play. Dude, enough with the nonsense, bro. When Bouchard's there, dude, he's unbelievable. Like, he's a top
top five.
Top five. You can
Yeah.
the little top five seems reasonable. Okay, definitely top 10. But he's already remember this is only like his first couple seasons in the NHL, like a proven
Get this
number one
done.
D-man. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's already in the mix for being one of the better D-men in the league. I'm telling you, bro, like they have a gem there. Like Evan Bouchard's no joke. And you
And I
see,
think I think pairing him with Matthias Ekholm was a fantastic move.
yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. Because Ekholm's not that offensive dude. Like he can focus on that defensive pair. While, dude, he could just let Bouchard just do his thing. And Bouchard isn't bad defensively either. You know, I'm telling bro, like Bouchard's better than Morgan Riley. Like it's just a fact. You know, and it's like again another team making it to the final with a Norris candidate D man. Like it's fact. It's facts. It's fact.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, Bouchard is, better than Riley. I mean, you can say that. You can say that.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
But
it's facts.
so, honestly, I think we should get to our Stanley Cup final preview and prediction. So, this is going to be fun. I tweeted this and I wanted this. Edmonton Oilers versus Florida Panthers for the Stanley Cup. Wow, wow, wow. I am so hyped for this series. It's going to be way better than if Dallas was to make it. Edmonton with the offense, with Draisaitl, with Hyman, with Kane, being a pest with Matthew Tkachuk. Like the Panthers got Reinhart, they've got Bennett. It's going to be a battle, and it's going to go 6 or 7. So, without further ado, let's predict. I'm gonna go first. I'll go first.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, the Florida Panthers, right? These guys, they had a lot of lessons to learn last year when they lost to Vegas in 5. It's really, they understand now what it takes to win because they lost in the biggest stage in the Stanley Cup Final.
Mhm.
And now with a lot of the same guys coming back, they know exactly how to win the Stanley Cup. And, I think the Edmonton Oilers are probably, and I think maybe an easier matchup than last year's Vegas team, but who knows? And yeah, I understand that the Panthers, there's no way a team can lose back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. Well, I think it's going to happen again. I believe that the Edmonton Oilers can and will defeat the Florida Panthers in 6 games in Edmonton. They will win the Stanley Cup. It'll be the first time since 1993 a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup, and McDavid will hoist the Stanley Cup and bring it over to Newmarket, close to us, so we can take photos with the cup and McDavid. And because we're wearing our McDavid jerseys, it's definitely going to happen. Zach Hyman's going to win a Stanley Cup just for the sake of Toronto being against him. Cody Cece's going to win a Stanley Cup just because Toronto does not like him.
They
And,
have to call him Jack Campbell. They have to call him Jack Campbell just for like one
story,
game.
story behind this year going down to a 9-1 in their first, I think, 11 games where they lost to the Sharks. They lost to the Sharks in this year, and the way they came back and they came close to winning the Pacific Division title, beating Vancouver in a 7-game series. I think the Edmonton Oilers defeat the Florida Panthers and win the Stanley Cup. Leon Draisaitl is your Conn Smythe winner, and the McDavid gets his first Stanley Cup. No, I would give it to Draisaitl. Draisaitl has been a better playoff performer than McDavid, and I think because Matthew Tkachuk's line or the Barkov line is going to be solely focused on McDavid this year in this series, I think Leon Draisaitl is going to be an absolute weapon against the Florida Panthers, and I think they would give it to Draisaitl. The Conn Smythe Trophy, comes to Edmonton, and I think Draisaitl would be the guy to get it because McDavid's really going to get shut down this series. I think the Panthers can do it, but Edmonton's going to rely a lot on their depth guys because Barkov is, the best defensive center in the league. Obviously, he won the Selke, and they've also got other guys like who else has played with Barkov? I think it's Reinhart, or is it Reinhart or somebody else? Like they've got some really good players playing on that top line. I think McDavid's going to struggle a little bit, but that's where the depth pieces, like maybe the depth in the bottom 6. Draisaitl's going to shine, I think, in this series, and he'll win the Conn Smythe. And Edmonton will win the Stanley Cup. That's my prediction. In 6 games in Edmonton. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. But I think they win it in Canada for Canada. Let's go Oilers, baby. Who do you got?
You know, I doubt the Oilers a lot, but I've also doubted the Florida Panthers a lot because I did have them losing
I'm
for
gonna
the final.
doubt them again. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna doubt in Florida again. So who do you
But
genuinely think is going to win?
as as a Leaf fan, I don't want the Edmonton Oilers to win. But as an actual hockey fan, I would like to see the Edmonton Oilers win. Now, now listen. I've been on the train of McKinnon being better than McDavid, and I still think that to this day. But if McDavid wins the cup, okay, yes, okay. I will agree McDavid is better. Okay, yes, I'll say it on camera. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay.
Does Florida really lose back to back?
See, like that's the thing. Like, does Bobrovsky get outplayed by Stuart Skinner? Like,
I mean, Stuart Skinner outplayed Jake Ottinger.
yeah,
He
that's the thing.
outplayed. Actually,
Okay, that
yeah,
was it. That was it.
he lost in Talbot. I mean, he had a pretty easy road, but I don't know, man. What do
You know
you
what?
think?
You know what? If McDavid wants to be considered the best player in the league, he cannot fuck up this opportunity. We're gonna go with Oilers in 7 because I know for a fact McDavid will not let this slip up. I know Hyman's gonna want this to brag in Toronto's faces, to all Toronto fans' faces. Cody Cece's gonna want this to brag in all Toronto's faces. It's just written. I think it's just written in the stars. Like it has to happen eventually, where a Canadian team wins the cup. And Oilers fans and Leaf fans despise each other. And as a Leaf fan, I really don't want these guys to win. But remember, for the Panthers, I don't want them to win either. So as a hockey fan, Oilers in 7. Oilers are going to win the cup. I think it's time. I think it's time.
It's been way too long for a Canadian team to win, and for the league's sake, the best player needs to win a cup, and this is it. This is the perfect time. This is a perfect opportunity. Bobrovsky hasn't been like the centerpiece of Florida, winning all
Yeah.
these series. He has been a good goalie, but with the Edmonton Oilers power play, it's really going to be hard because these guys only play twice a year, and in the
Yeah.
regular season, seeing them for 6 or 7, probably 6 or 7 games, you know, I think Edmonton will crack through and score a lot of power play goals. It'll be a battle of power plays, I think, because
Yeah.
special
Both teams are powerful merchants. That's what they are. But remember, dude, both teams are good on the penalty kill. Like, I think I saw the stat, dude. The Oilers didn't.
I don't think the Stars didn't score a power play goal in that series.
Or the Kings. The Vancouver Canucks are the only team to have scored a power play goal against the Oilers. And dude, the Florida Panthers penalty kill is extremely good as well. Like, remember, dude, they have Alexander Barkov, who is the Selke winner. So he knows what he's doing. Like, he knows what his assignment is, and he's not gonna let this slip up again. Like, he's not gonna want to slip this up. 2 straight finals appearances, he has to get one. And I rate the Selke Trophy extremely highly as a player because you're showing me that you're great offensively and you're a great offensive defenseman. And Barkov winning the Selke and now potentially adding a cup to his name, now that is an honor, like unbelievable achievement. Like I rate the Selke Trophy just below the Hart Trophy. Like I rate it as like the second best trophy, like excluding the playoffs. Like I rate the Hart and then the Selke Trophy. Selke Trophy I rate personally as one of the bigger trophies that you can win as an individual. So if Barkov can win the Stanley Cup along with the Selke, bro, that's unbelievable. It was just, and both teams, dude, both teams match up very well. Like both great offensively. Both teams are good. I would give the defensive edge to the Florida Panthers. I really like the Panthers defense.
Gotta admit, Edmonton has been good defensively.
They have been good defensively. They've been much better than from the start of the season. And I mean, goaltending, I have to give it to Bobrovsky. Like, come on, like he's just better than this. Like, come on, like let's not be foolish. But I think McDavid, he can't let this slip up now. You're 4 wins away, buddy. You're 4 wins away now. And if you want to continue your legacy, you want to because he's already a Hall of Famer. Like, let's not kid ourselves. McDavid is already a Hall of Famer. But if he wants to add a fucking title to his name, oh, bro, this is the best fucking chance. And as a hockey fan, I really hope he does it. I really hope. I hope.
Well, here's the thing: both teams did not touch the cups that they won. The Clarendon trophy from the Edmonton side. They did not touch the cup. And the Prince of Wales that the Florida Panthers won for the Eastern Conference, they didn't touch it either. So neither, because when you touch the cup, you lose most of the time, apparently, superstition. But neither team did it. So we're going to see what happens. We both think Edmonton's going to win.
We'll see.
For Canada and for McDavid's sake. And because we live close to McDavid, he's from Newmarket. He will bring the trophy to Newmarket, and we will go see McDavid with the trophy. He will bring it to Magna Center, and we will go.
Magna Center.
He might. But yeah, let's go Oilers. It's going to be
if Oilers lose, I will be on Twitter making fun of a lot of Oilers fans, and oh my, I will be a pest on Twitter. I do not care. I'm letting you know that because you follow me, and I'm letting a lot of Oilers fans know. Watch out. I better watch out.
And you should follow our Twitters because they'll be down in the podcast. You'll see our Twitter handles right below us, somewhere around the screen. And follow our podcast, which should be up here. So yeah, you guys should. But other than that, I think we're going to conclude this episode of the Edge of Sports podcast. The Stanley Cup Final will begin Saturday at 8 p.m. Sportsnet will cover it, and ESPN in Canada and ESPN over in the States will cover it. And if you live in Alberta, if you live in Edmonton, you got your local guys. You got I forget his name. He calls the Oilers games on the radio. I forget his name. W guy. But we'll see what happens. Game, like I said, game 1 Saturday, 8:00. I'm gonna be watching for sure, and so will Justin. So will all of Canada should be watching because it's great for the ratings and it's great for the sport that a Canadian team is finally back in the Stanley Cup Final. But that's going to do it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Let's go Oilers. Bring the cup home to Canada.